Last time, we talked about the 3 hexagram, which has 正 trigram at lower position and 对 trigram at top position. If we flip all the yang lines into yin lines and all yin lines into yang lines, we get a new hexagram. It is 古 hexagram. 古 hexagram on the screen has Xing as lower trigram and Geng as upper trigram. Xing is the wind, Geng is the mountain. So the image of Gu hexagram is wind at the bottom of the mountain. Gu means something has gone really bad, therefore a change has to be made. Let's take a quick look at the table of trigrams. Xun and Geng are highlighted here. Xun, the wind, has penetrating attribute. Geng, the mountain, has blocking attribute. Gu hexagram has Xun at lower position and Geng at top position. So the Geng, the mountain on top, is blocking everything. It blocks the progresses. If a business stops making progresses, it would fail. If leaves at the bottom of the mountain stayed for a long time, they would decay. Now imagine Xun, the wind, is penetrating through the leaves at the bottom of mountain. It would bring seeds that can grow at the bottom of the mountain, such that it brings new life. This picture is exactly what Gu means. So I translated Gu as revitalization. The judgment made by King Wen of Zhou on Gu hexagram do need some explanation. It is, revitalization prevails, good to cross a big river. 3 days before the decree and 3 days after that. This judgment is all about what we do to turn around the bad situation. At the really bad time, for example, at the time of economic stagnation, social oppression, people dumping, it is the moment for the great person to do something. So, revitalization prevails. Next sentence, cross big river, is a metaphor. It means taking a big step, taking some risks, making big adventure. Imagine at the Stone Age, to cross a big river is a big deal because there's no bridge, no steamboat. 3 days before the decree and the 3 days after that mean the revitalization process would take some time. It is a reform like the wind penetrates through wood. It is gentle and soft. It is not a revolution. Therefore, before issuing the reform decree, take some time to think about it, make a plan, get well prepared. Then issue the decree to the public and it becomes effective after 3 days, so people have time to understand the new decree and make necessary adjustments. We could rephrase this judgment as, at bad time, revitalization prevails. We have to take risks and make big adventures. Before issuing a reform decree, take some time to prepare. Having issued the decree, allow people some time to adjust. I think this judgment is scalable. It can apply to a kingdom. It can apply to a family. It also can apply to a company. Now, let's look at each of 6 lines of Gu hexagram. Gu hexagram has 3 yang lines and 3 yin lines. The initial line of Gu hexagram is an yin line. It is at the beginning of Gu hexagram, a revitalization process. The comment is this: to revitalize father's cause by son would be no blame. It's not easy, but it would be good at the end. Here, I believe the relationship between father and son is a very common natural relationship. A son naturally should revitalize his father's cause. But we should not think this comment made on Gu hexagram restricted to the father-son situation. We could take a new perspective from yin-yang relationship. The initial line here is an yin line. Father's cause is a yang cause. So it is to revitalize a yang cause in an yin manner. The lower trigram of Gu hexagram is Xun trigram, which is an yin trigram. My understanding of this comment is at the very beginning of revitalization, we start at making changes to the yang aspect of old cause by yin. That is, reverse the old cause. For example, a company was very aggressive expanding its business and got troubles in that. A revitalization started by shrinking the business, consolidating the business. And of course, it's not easy, but it would have positive results by the time. So do not give up due to the troubles or even dangers while reverse the old course. That is the initial line. Second line of Gu hexagram is a yang line. The comment is, to revitalize mother's cause should not be firm or harsh. Again, from yin-yang relationships perspective, it would be easier to understand this comment. Now, the revitalization process is going deeper into the core. Mother's cause is an yin cause. It is the foundation of the old cause. Second line of Gu hexagram is a yang line. Now we see it reverses yin by yang. In other words, it reforms the foundation of the old cause by active changes. At this time, such a reform should not be firm or harsh. It is a warning because it is so easy to be harsh, arrogant, stubborn in a reform. But just like the wind, the revitalization reform is penetrating deep into the foundation of old cause, which requires time and patience. The third line of Gu hexagram is a yang line. The comment is, to revitalize father's cause would have trivial regret, but no severe mistakes. Here, we will use yin-yang perspective again. The comment told us making revitalization to yang cause by yang means would go wrong, but nothing major. It's a statement of the fact that in the middle of revitalization process, we not only reverse the old cause, but also take some yang elements, some positive elements from the old cause. When doing so, small mistakes are unavoidable, but we fix the mistakes along the process, we would be fine. The fourth line of Gu hexagram is the first line of Geng trigram. It is an yin line. The comment is, to tolerate father's cause would lead to be blamed. Remember, The comment on initial inline was to revitalize father's cause by son would be no blame. But on fourth inline here is to tolerate father's cause would lead to be blamed. Why? Because the initial inline is the leading line of Ching trigram, its mission is to revitalize the old cause. But the fourth inline is the first line of Geng trigram, which is under the pressure of top yang line, so it cannot make moves or achieve something significant. Therefore, the verb was changed from revitalize to tolerate. This comment is a very strong warning. When revitalization process has went deep, it would face stubborn resistances, and we could not let go. Otherwise, it would lead to something worse than regretted. So we better not do that in the first place, but keep focus on revitalization. The fifth line of Gu hexagram is an inline. The comment is short. To revitalize father's cause would be praised. The fifth line of Gu hexagram is at the peak of revitalization process. Now, we reverse the old cause, absorb the positive elements from the past, fix the problem on the way, remain committed to revitalization, and finally got good results. So, it would be praised. The top line of Gu hexagram is a yang line. The comment is, do not serve the king or other powerful people, but purely focus on revitalization. Again, this comment is a warning. If someone cash in the good results of revitalization on fifth line with king, the revitalization process would be ruined. In our modern time, if the owner sold the business of new ideas, most likely the new idea would be gone. This comment is a deep insight into human nature. I lost my words the first time when I read this comment. Here is a summary of Gu hexagram, a revitalization process. First, when something goes really bad, it can be an opportunity for a capable person. If we see something rotten, do not simply go away. It can be an opportunity to revitalize it. Second, the revitalization process cannot be rushed, but it's a slow process. Just like the wind brings fresh air into an old house, we do not want to totally destroy the old house, but revive it. Last, in the revitalization process, we need to be flexible and keep focus. Let's recall the comment on second line. To revitalize mother's cause should not be firm or harsh. We need flexibility here. The comment on top line is do not serve the king or other powerful people, but purely focus on revitalization. It addressed that to keep focus is very important. Comparing Gu hexagram with its opposite one, Sui hexagram. While Sui is to follow, Gu is to revitalize. Sui has the image thunder in the middle of lake, which is to move joyfully. Gu has the image of wind at the bottom of mountain, which is to penetrate a heavy resistance. When everything are opposite between them, but one thing is common. That is, they are all scalable. At the time of Gu hexagram, it can be a family business went bad. It can be an international company stopped making innovations. Also, it can be a nation or a civilization stagnated. At its largest scale, it can be the human beings as a whole facing crisis. When this happens, do not wait, do not panic, but just start the Gu hexagram revitalization process. Then we are all capable persons. We are on our own and no one else there to save us. That's all. Bye.